Good morning, Flosstube. I'm Lori, and welcome to Once Upon a Stitch. Today is February 1st. Happy Love Month! It is 9:35 in the morning, and I must have made at least 10 trips up and down the stairs this morning to get ready for this Flosstube. And the last thing, I sat down to tape, and I said, okay, I'm going to push the button, and I said, I didn't wash my glasses. Go back downstairs, wash my glasses. Now I'm all set. I can see, I can read, so I can tell you all the information that you'd like to know about my stitching. This is Flosstube number 90. And in March, it'll be my 4th year, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Going on my 5th year. I started in 2017, I believe. I'll have to look it up. I'll give you the information next month or next video, which will be in 2 weeks. So stay tuned. That's going to be exciting for me. I hope it's going to be exciting for you, but we'll get into that. Okay, I just want to go over a few, now that I'm looking at the first thing, I could have picked up something else downstairs. Somebody asked me about those little quilt hangers that is approximately 9 inches, and they asked me, in the last video, I measured them to give you the dimensions of them, and somebody asked where to buy them, and then somebody else commented that they saw that on Connecting Threads, and I even looked them up on Amazon under tabletop quilt hanger, and there was one that looked exactly like mine. I don't know if it is because I don't know any name of mine, but because I bought mine at a quilt fair many moons ago. So, and then somebody asked me about possibly doing a tutorial. I don't do tutorials because I don't have anybody to help me with them, number one. And I don't have the means of setting up the camera and doing it from my phone. I do it from a tablet. I do video this and I don't know how to edit. So I just go with it. And that's why a lot of times I get tongue-tied and I'll stop it, I'll delete it and start all over. But I'm trying to be better about it, of just going with the flow. But somebody did ask about how to put them together. Now, today's the first day in February, so today I was going to change my little hanging for that quilt frame. And before I did, I says, let me just show you that basically this is a country cottage, cottage of the month, and this is for February. There's the up. And I just finished this with a pink polka dot and then pink flowers in the back. And basically you decide, I guess it all depends on the size of your piece because you need to fit it in that frame. So you subtract what your piece is and you add whatever it is, an inch and a half. An inch and a half will leave you with an inch after your margins. But I'm not going to go through the whole process of explaining this because in video number, let's see, 78 is I show how I did another one that I did recently this past year. And I explain how to put it together, how to flip it, and the whole bit. And that's in video 78. I went back to my notes. So that's for February. So since we're on, okay, so that was the first question. Somebody asked if I stitch in a Q-snap or in a frame or in hand. I stitch 95% of the time in a Q-snap. The 5% I would use a tension hoop or a smaller Q-snap depending on the size of the fabric. Like February 1st, I have new starts planned and they're small, so I plan to put them in a tension hoop and work from that. My bigger projects all go in Q-snaps and I roll up the fabric, and now I have these wonderful magnetic ties that I use all the time when I work with a Q-snap, and I attach the fabric with these, and I use these as a needle minder, so I love them. We had a meetup at Needleworks of a group that we made friends over from the New Jersey Flosstube retreat, and the first one was in 2018. That's when I started my Flosstube. That's right, because I wanted to make a floss tube so I could meet friends. So it's 2018, and so it'll be 4 years. And I didn't think I was doing this for 5 years and only at 90 videos, but anyway, I digressed. Oh, so we had to meet up at Needleworkers, and we hadn't seen each other in quite a while in person. So we were to get together in December, but that didn't happen for me. So I brought a bunch of little bags that I made, which I explained how to make them in video number 78. And these are the bags. I filled them up with some goodies. And I obviously didn't see everybody, but, and I just want to explain that the ribbons that you see hanging are to tie the bags closed, but I didn't tie them because the piece that's in here doesn't allow for it to tie. But when they reuse the bag, they can put something in it and tie it shut. Okay, I finally heard from my last giveaway winner, and I got your pattern in the mail yesterday. So fingers crossed that if everybody gets their patterns that I sent out. I was really concerned because we sent a card to my mother-in-law last month for her birthday, way ahead of her birthday. She never got it. She's only in the one state over, like an hour and a half away. She never got it. Okay. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. So I'm going to show you some previous finishes, and then I'll go into my whips, my new start, my whips, and then I have some quilting that I'm going to share. And I wanted to ask you, sometimes I wish that we can talk during this so I can ask a question, you can give me an answer, and I can do what you tell me. But my question basically, if anybody wants to answer it in their comments, is do you want to see when in quilting, these are the people that want to see sewing or quilting, do you want to see my projects as I'm working on them, or do you want to wait till they're completed and I just show you the finished product? I have some finished product, and then I have one that's almost completed. I just didn't have the time to do the handwork, so but I'm going to show it to you at the end this time, and then just tell me if you don't want to see them in progress, and then I'll just show you when they're all done. Okay, so previous finishes. This is a Lizzie Kate from her Flip It series. This is the February pillow. Let's put a little, and this is Hands-On Design, a year celebration. And I remember when we were all stitching this, when this first came out, we were wondering, like, why are they using brown for February? But those are supposed to be chocolates. So I know a lot of people change them because they say, oh, I didn't want brown, and they change the color of them, but they're supposed to be chocolates in a heart. So I'm glad I didn't change them. Most of the times I don't change colors because I'm afraid that if I change something, I'll make it more bright, and I don't know if that's always what I'm supposed to do, so I just leave the colors 99% of the time. So that's from them. And then this is a Lizzie Kate winter string, and I finished it on some black check with some sheet metal that I glued here, and then I glued magnets on a basket. I left the basket downstairs, and this will be up till the beginning of March most likely. And I have a candle and some snowmen in the basket. So that's it. And then I pulled this off from downstairs as well. And I've shown this before, but for people that are new to my channel, sometimes I know you don't go back and watch all of them. So this is what's this? Heartstring sampler, I believe. If that's incorrect, I will put it in the show notes. The designer. This is Baby It's Cold Outside, And I added the apostrophe for it's because it's supposed to be, it is cold outside. And I display it with these stars. I have 2 of them, but the way this is a frame that I had, chalkboard frame that I purchased at Michael's at 50% off, and this was a couple of years ago, so I'm sure I haven't seen it since. It was $40, but it was 50% off. But I have magnets on the back of this so that I can change out. I put a 4th of July piece on this as well, and I leave it out for the whole summer. It's a little crooked, but when it's sitting on a table, it's fine. The thing is with this has a lip, and when you sit it down, it does not stay. This was meant like to hang on a wall, but so it seems to go like this so I have to put something very heavy in the back. So I have an antique iron that my father brought me back from Italy one year, and the way they used to iron, they used to put coal in it and you used to have to swing it to get it hot, and once it was hot they would iron with it, but it does the job. Okay, so those are my previous finishes. Now let's get on to what I've been doing, what I've been sewing. So on January 17th, as most of you know who follow me, would have been my mother's 100th birthday. So in her honor, I started this project, and this is And Be Kind to One Another, because I thought, and everybody that knew my mom knew she was always kind. So I started this on that day, and so for 2 days I worked on this, and I really love the colors that it's all the call for colors, which are classic Colorworks. So I hope to pick it up this month. This month's stitching is supposed to be new starts, and then things that I most likely will not complete in 2022. I don't know if I'll complete this, but I'm going to stick it in there. I hope I complete it. But because it's a dedication piece, I'd like to get some stitching in that. I'm trying to figure out where to put this stuff. I guess I can put it down there for today. The next one I worked on, which you haven't seen in like forever, because I only put in 4 days. I have notes to myself because I changed the color on the vines. And this is Spring Fling by Brenda Gervais. And this is done on a 28 count Angel Blush Lugana. And I made the vines a little darker. Actually, I think what happened was I picked this up. Now, I worked on it 4 days last year, and I think I started it last March. And so I hadn't picked it up in like many months. So I went to pick up the color of the vine, and when I held the floss against the other vine, I'm like, this doesn't match. So then I found another thread in the thread call for threads that did match. So I started stitching it with that. And then I found a note to myself that said, you use sticks and twigs for the stems. Oops. But I love it. And what I stitched this time was I had the eye, the second eye up to here, and over was all stitched. So I stitched these vines, the leaves, and it's hard to see the white, but oh, there you go. I finished the top of the bunny. There's still a couple of rows of white on the bottom to be used. And then there's 2 birds in the picture. So if not the next, my goal for this one is a finish. Oh, my goal in here's the pattern. In Be Kind was the first 2 alphabets. We'll see where it goes from there. But this is, I'd like a finish on this year. So I have these vines here, the bottom of the bunny and the two bird. Oh, this is a reverse to me. This is done. So I need this bird, the bottom of the bunny, and this bird and flowers. So I should be able to complete this. This will be one of my March Madness pulls. I'm looking forward in a way to March Madness. But like, I don't know if it, like, I don't know how to do anything technical. I know some people put up the two patterns that are going against each other, and they're having you pick which one you want to see them move forward. But I don't know how to do that. So then I said, well, maybe when I do that video where I pull them out and I'll have to say, okay, this is one, this is two, they're going to go against each other. If you want to make a comment in that next video, which do you want out of those two, if you want to push that forward to the next round, I could do that and see where it takes me. I can try that because the first one I'll be stitching 8. So that'll be 16 days. And on the 17th day of March, which is St. Patty's Day, I'll come back and show you which two are going to go against each other. Now that's a Thursday. So that'll probably be a late video or when Caleb's sleeping. He usually naps a good hour. So I'm hoping I can tape while he's sleeping. If I can't upload, I'll upload it at night. But that's not your problem. That's my problem. But anyway, that's my thought let me know. Would you like to comment on which of the two you'd like to see it move forward for a finish at the end of March Madness? If so, you're going to have pencil and paper in the next video. Next, I worked on Mary Clayton by Hands On Designs. No, Hands Across the Sea. Sorry, Nicola. Hands Across the Sea samplers, Mary Clayton. And I enjoyed this time. Sometimes I'm thinking like, oh, I don't know, but I enjoyed stitching it. I figured out I enjoy stitching blocks of color, not tooth colors here, like confetti. And I think that's why I don't think I'll ever do a Haid, though I love them. I think they're gorgeous. Okay. Here is Mary Clayton. Okay, let me see if I do it this way. And what I did was, okay, I'll bring it in close so you can see. On this side, everything under the green section of the house. So the brown grass, the dog, the gate, and the tree, and then Mary Clayton, and that's supposed to be the W in the word works. And then I came and did the green on this side. This is a good one for when you do a Zoom call because you just back and forth. So this I would like to see finished this year. And this is where in the last video I says I think I was way too ambitious in saying a finish, but that's what I said. So after this section here and that grass and gate, then I have this down here to do, and the border is not bad at all. I mean, a lot of hands-on designs are very intricate, and a lot of them have a lot of over one stitching, and that's what stops me from stitching them, because I do not enjoy over one stitching. I do it sometimes. If I can get away without doing it, I will. I just don't enjoy it because I don't see it well. Next one is Little House Needleworks, and the goal for this one this year was a finish. You say, oh, it doesn't look like much, but don't forget, it's a rotation for me. So I do two days on this in a month, and then maybe a month or two I might not stitch at all. So because I have to put in the other starts that I have, the other whips going. And this house was a lot of stitching. I started the blue house the last time, so I finished the blue house and the grass, and I came across and I did this right there and those 3 flowers. So next is a tree, and then another house large like that. And then, I have to bring the borders down too. But I do love it. I love the colors, and this is all DMC. So, yeah. I do enjoy working on this, and this is on a 28 count ivory Lugana. Okay. I've been a busy bee. The next one is, which a lot of you have seen already, is Christmas Garden by Blackbird Designs. And I can't believe how much progress I did on this. This I would like to see finished this year. I have to stand up for this. And I finished that. I call it a row, a third row. This would have been the first row, this is the second, and this is the third. And what I stitched at was finishing the top of the center, these motifs here. This motif had to be finished. And I don't know, I think I had to finish this. Yeah, I think the urn was there, so I had to finish this. And then any small motifs along the way. I'll bring it in closer so you can see a little bit better. So hopefully I can get this done this year. The words, Merry Christmas Garden, that's it, and the border. So I think this will be doable. I don't know when I'm going to frame it, but I have to find a frame. Okay, bring the chair closer. I have a carpet on the floor, and it ends there, so I have to be careful to pick up the chair and get it over that, otherwise it'll bunch up the carpet. Okay, the next one that I worked on, here's a finished copy of the pattern. This was a mystery sampler, and this is by the Tiny Modernist. Haunted Mansion. I did not want to do this gravestones and pumpkins on the bottom, so I was stopping right after that, right before that. And I have another finish, so this makes number 9 for this year. And that's my finish, and I love it. What I stitched this time was the tree, this ghost, and the grass, the tree and the grass like that. Didn't have much to do, but so I finished it. Oh, and I then would go back and put the bats in and the stars. I had not done the stars. So I really like this, and I'm happy with it. Like I said, I did not want to do more tombstones, and I like it just the way it is. So I'm calling it done. Okay. Stay tuned. This will be a future giveaway. The next giveaway I do, I guess, will probably be in March. So, just give you a little heads up. Okay. Next, I worked on Kringles by Little House Needleworks. And I gotta say, I finished the roof, so I don't have to jump. That was a comment I had made, and somebody enjoyed it, saying like, oh, if I don't finish this roof, I'm going to jump from it. So I finished the roof, and I started the first room. So the goal on this one, this looks like a little blue maybe, but this is stitched on a 28 count Springfield Sage Lugana. And it's using the call for colors. Oh, that's what I want to show you. The call for color in the beige was either ecru or eggshell. And when I held them together, the eggshell had a little bit more yellow in it. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. So the snow, the house part is going to be in ecru. But anything inside the blocks that might have a snowflake, in this case, there's a white tree. Actually, there's going to be, I think, 4 of them. Yeah, you can't even see them in the picture. Let's see, is it the right side? Yeah, this one here. I don't know if you can see. There's 2 here and 2 here. There's 2 white trees. They're barely visible. So I'm going to use grits. I didn't fill in the insides yet, but anything inside the blocks are going to be in grits, and anything that's part of the building or the snow outside the building will be in ecru. So this is not scheduled for a finish, thank goodness. The goal on this one is to do the first floor, the first 3 rooms. Okay, then the last one that I worked on, and the reason I picked this up, now this past month the theme was to work on things that I want to get done this year. Well, I had done that, and I had a few days extra because the new starts that I had, some of them only took me a day to finish, which I showed in my last video. So I had extra days, so that's why I put in Kringles, and that's why I put in this one, Perfect World. And another reason I put this in is because it was called for my WIPGO board, and the goal for my WIPGO board was 15 hours. And the goal that I had set on the piece, like for myself, because I don't know how long these things take, I had said from the words and everything up, all the motifs up. Now this I'll be stitching again in February, because the February theme is everything I won't be finishing, and I don't think I could finish this with all this black fill-in, and yeah, I don't think I'll be able to finish it, but the goal was just the top letters for me, and 15 hours in WIPGO. So I took it out and I stitched on it the 30th and 31st of this month, which was last night and the night before, and the Sunday I put in 5 hours, and yesterday I only put in 3. I went to watch Gianna in the afternoon for a couple of hours to give them a break. And this is how far I've gotten. I finished all the words. So basically the last time you saw it, I had the basket and the words to here done. And so I did the rest of the words, the flower and those small motifs there and the bird. And I probably could have stitched a little bit longer last night, but I had to move the Q-snap. So I said, I'm going to call it a night. So, and I had already moved it. Did I move it or just set it? Anyway, I didn't want to move it and then for another hour, and I said, okay, I'm tired enough. Tomorrow's another day. So those are all the whips that I stitched on. I have some haul. Oh, let me, for anybody interested, and I know I've seen other people talk about WIPGO on their channels, and then sometimes I read the comments and people ask like about WIPGO, and you know, the best place to go is to Jessie Marie Does Stuff videos, because she has a whole video regarding WIPGO. But like somebody said, like, oh, what happens if I don't stitch on it that month, or if I don't make my goal? Well, it's a yearly goal. So for instance, the first month they called Little House Needleworks, for me, they called number 17 and number 2. Number 2 was a finish for me, so I colored it in. This one is also a finish, and I worked on it, but I didn't finish it. And it's not going to be finished for a while, but it's been called. So then the next 2 days for February that were called were In All Things Be Exceedingly Diligent. That was number 5, and what other number was? Oh, no, I'm sorry. The first month was 2 and 19, and that's why I had picked up a Perfect World to work on. I'm sorry, I'm confusing you. The first January was 2 and 19, then February was 5 and 17. So this one says the top alphabet, In All Things Be Exceedingly Diligent. I don't even have the pattern, and I'm a little upset about that, but my Needleworks store ordered it. This was before, like in November, and it came in. Both of them came in, Be Kind and this one, but they forgot to put it in my folder, and they put it on the floor, and somebody bought it. So they had to reorder it, and it still hasn't come in. And since I told them to order it, I feel bad about going somewhere else to get it. But it's not scheduled to be started till April. So even though the number's called, one, you could stitch on it if it's a whip in your rotation, or like in my case, it's not scheduled till April. So if I don't get it by the end of February, I will be ordering it somewhere else. I'm telling them. This one is also been called, and this is a Little House Needleworks, Little House Neighborhood, and that's for a finish. So this will take a while before I color this in. Now, the Scarlet House, which was last month, and it says 15 hours. So I made a second sheet where I have the same numbers, and I logged in that on January 30th and 31st, I put in 8 hours. So the next time I pick it up, I will log in the number of hours here. Once I get the 15 hours, then I'll color the block in. So if you have any questions, you can please feel free. I'll do my best in answering it, and if I can't answer it in the if it's a long thing, I'll definitely tell you in my next video. So and as you saw, some of these I scheduled for completion, and I completed already. So I marked them that I completed it and the dates that I completed it. But until they're called, I cannot mark them on my WIPGO board. So that's basically, it's just something to keep you entertained while you're stitching and planning. And now my book of days looks like nothing like everybody else's book of days. They do beautiful stickers. They're writing. The first thing I get my book, and I wrote in 2 things. I wrote in the New Jersey Flosstube retreat here in Sharpie, because I was so excited to use different color Sharpies, but Sharpie bleeds to the other side. That was number 1. Number 2, I use this calendar for everything, like everything in my life. I put in birthdays in my family. I would put in doctor's appointments if I was supposed to go to them, and I wrote in ink, because certain things just don't change. Well, this year they changed, not birthdays, but I had a doctor's appointment, and I had to have a test before I saw the cardiologist, and they called me twice, canceling because people had COVID. So I called up my cardiologist's office and I says, cancel my appointment. I'll see you in the spring. Oh well, there's no way I want to come in contact with anybody who has COVID. Not with seeing my grandchildren all the time. They're a little bit more important. But anyway, I'm going to show you my messy January. Okay, so the parts where I had doctor's appointments and where I wrote in pen, I used a label over it. I didn't have a plain label. It had purple lines in it. So, and then I just wrote over it what I worked on that day. The flowers are people's birthdays in my family. Highlighted Flosstube videos and completed projects. On the side here, I start with WIPGO numbers, and the red means a new start. And then I listed what the WIPGO number pieces were. Then these were all the finishes for the month of January. So I had 9. Probably February will be, well, maybe I'll have 1 or 2 from my smalls that I'll be starting. I was gonna say I'm not gonna have any, but because the theme is things that I can't finish. And then my to-do, I had put in a project bag, quilt Caleb's quilt, make binding for quilt. These were things that I wanted to do. And then there was also clear out magazines, recycle, and gift to friends. So the big snowmen mean they were shovelable snow. So we had 2 days of like 8-inch snow days. And the little snowflakes here mean it was a dusting. This means I worked on Caleb's quilt, and that was on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday during the day. So mine is not as elaborate as everybody else's, but it works for me. But I learned that in February, I will not be putting anything in permanently until I know for a fact that it's permanent. So right now I have that I will be starting a new start, and that's Spring Freebies by Whilst Iris Naps. And I put a heart for Valentine's Day. This is a note that I'd like to do a Flosstube on the 15th of February, which is exactly 2 weeks from today. And that's the one I'll be pulling March Madness patterns. And then if you'd like, you can, there'll be 8 numbers, and out of each pairing of 1, 2, 3, 4, and whatever, you can tell me which one you'd like to see me move ahead on it. And I can do it that way instead of closest to a finish. Then the whip go, the numbers that were called in February, and the name of the patterns that were called. Alrighty, so now I can show you my haul, and then I'll do quilts. So, like I said, I went to Needleworkers, and I love looking at the little pins. And even though this is Christmas, they were having a sale, so you got to take advantage of a sale. These are made by us. Let's see, Just Another Button Company, a bell and 2 ornaments. I bought myself some ballpoint needles, size 24. They only had 2 of the colors that I needed in Classic Colorworks, Red Currant and Pea Pod. I don't even remember what they're for, so when I pull something out, I hang these up now in alphabetical order on rings, and I put it on the inside of this closet door. And when I get to the pattern and I'm like, okay, this is missing, that's the first place I'll check to see, because I lose those pieces of paper. I have papers all over, little notes. Oh, I need this color, boom, boom, boom. And then when I go order, I order them, and then I don't know where those notes go. I bought a skein of Dinky Dyes. I don't know. I just did. I thought it was so pretty. I picked up Wee Santa from Heart and Hand. This is the 2020 one. I think he's cute. It comes with the little star accoutrements, like metal little stars. See, now this is a pattern that I would probably have to bring to the store and enlarge, because of the details that are in his coat, the different symbols. It's hard for me to decipher what they are. You know, maybe with the magnifiers and then looking really close, I might be able to, but I don't want to struggle with it. So I think I'm going to enlarge this before I stitch it. Then I picked up, I really thought this was cute. I want to do it. I think I'm going to do it as one piece, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to wait till I get all the parts to it. It's the Nutcracker from Cottage Needleworks. I did I did two the farm. I think that was Country Cottage. And then the Little House Needleworks was the Early Americans. Did those 2 as they would come individual, and you put them all together. So I don't know, like, I think this might be a center block, and then everything goes around it, but I'm not sure. So I'm on pre-order for those. And then I also purchased Bird in the Hand Halloween by Heart and Hand. And I was thinking of making it another long pillow this way and putting a pocket here, of finishing it when I finally stitch it. Then I picked up some Ada. This is 16 count light blue Ada. It's showing a little bit bluer on camera, but I really, really like it. And then I picked up, and this was because of Vicki from the Virginia Stitcher. She does a lot of white stitching on Dirty Ada, and it looks so pretty. I love the hot cocoa pattern that's out. Eventually that'll be on my list to get. And I think it'll be so pretty on here. This is 16 count Ada. Then I picked up a cross stitch design by Arlene Cohen, and this is called Snowflake. And a friend of ours did it on opalescence fabric, and she picked her own colors, and it's just gorgeous. And she finished it so quickly. So I love this pattern. Eventually I'm going to get the fabric for it and decide what floss I'm going to, but I'm so glad I have it in my possession. And another one that I have to purchase is Rosina Dizery by Works by ABC. It is a sampler of an African American girl. I forget what year it was. I think it was the 1800s, that attended the African American school in New York City. And it's a beautiful sampler with has a lot of over one words, but so that's why I was hesitant. But I think I'm going to bite the bullet on that one, because that is a beautiful sampler, and it means so much, because you don't normally think of African American girls doing needlework, and back in the day. So I think it's an awesome memorial piece, and Rosina Dizery is actually buried in Brooklyn, in a Brooklyn cemetery. So it's all like, I consider myself more of a New Yorker than a New Jersey, even though now I live in New Jersey longer than I've ever lived in New York. But I was born in New York, and until I was 21, I lived there. 20. I lived in New York, and I think it's really what made me, because New York is such a fast pace, and I'm always like, it's hard for me to slow down sometimes. Anyway, you don't want to know about that. What I've purchased. Okay, so then I went on to Amazon, and I made a purchase. And I purchased a Dimensions Gold kit. It's called Christmas Village Ornaments. And I think these are the most beautiful ornaments. I forgot how much I paid for this. I think it was on sale. It might still be, I'm not sure. Christmas Village Ornaments, and look how beautiful they are. And it comes pre-packaged. So it must be full coverage, like the sky and everything must be fully, so I don't know if I'll try to stitch it on a blue fabric background and make it work that way. But I don't know when I'll start this, but it's in my possession, so eventually I will. And then I wasn't going to, but it was on sale, half price, so I did. The sticker book that everybody has been buying, Antiquarian sticker book, Antiquarian sticker book, and they're large stickers, so like I hate putting them on my pages because they take up so much room, so I go around looking for little ones to add, and there's a lot of bugs that I don't think I'll be using much, but yeah, they're kind of weird. I don't think I'll be putting any snakes, though I love that peacock. So anyway, I purchased it. How often I'll use it, can't say. Okay, then I you know what it is, I ordered and I haven't shown it to you, so that's why it seems like a little bit more than usual. But I had gotten a gift certificate from 123 Stitch, so I have something coming from them as well. Okay, this is from the Fat Quarter Shop. I purchased 16 count navy. This is navy Ada, 16 count Ada, 18 by 21, so a fat half, no, fat quarter. I purchased flea market flowers. I enjoyed watching everybody do this. I don't do it when everybody else does it because I don't want to feel like it's a race. I want to enjoy the process. So this is just me. People love working, along with other people and seeing progress. I get anxiety, so I have to work at my own pace, and I'm usually late to the party anyway. And I also bought, and this is by Lori Holt. I don't know if I said that, Be in My Bonnet, but I'm sure you've all seen it a million times. And this is also by Lori Holt, Be in My Bonnet, Vintage Christmas. And I think I want to do them as individual pillows and make them to put in a bowl. So I'm excited about that. Now the rest is quilting related. So if you're not interested in quilting, I'll see you on 2 weeks from today. What date was it? Where's my calendar? That's another thing. I put down stuff and I have no idea. I'll put it down in an eraser and then look for half an hour for that eraser. Yep, the 15th. That's the plan. The 14th or the 15th, I'll be back and we'll pick for March Madness, which was the idea of Steel City Stitchers. If you want to go and check their channel and hear about it. Okay, next is quilting. I purchased some fabric. Yeah. I don't think I showed it, but so that's why I'm showing it to you. I'm trying to look. This is Home Sweet Home. Jelly roll. I have to put on the quilting hat. This is a jelly roll, and this was Home Sweet Home by Moda. Then I purchased Home Sweet Home charm squares. I bought 2 of them. I enjoy making smaller quilts. I am not bed size, so I will probably get I don't know, maybe a plaid or something. I'll see what's in here. I haven't opened them yet to see what different patterns are in here, and lay them out and see what I can add if I need to add to make it a nice lap size quilt. And then I purchased, I forget what these are called. Let's see if this tells me. No, they're just, mini charms. They're called mini charms. They're 2.5 inches. And I would like, well, for Christmas, but so I have a while. But I also would like to do it. I would like to do it for like different months. I should have done one for February, but make little quilts and just hang them off as a background. So this one is going to be for Christmas, and so those are all Christmas related. Okay, this is where I had. Okay, let me show you a quilt that I actually drew and then just put it into a wall hanging. These are orchids. For a while, I was getting orchids for gifts, especially when I was not a teacher. I worked in a school. I was the secretary to the principal, and the people would buy me orchids, and I bring them home. My husband would take care of them for a while, but I was not good with plants. Still not. But I drew them to represent what I would think they would represent in the pots. But if you look close, it's all free motion quilted. And in the past, like I did a lot more free motion, so I had better control. Now I'm afraid to do free motion because it's been so long. And you really do have to keep up with it and practice. Practice just like an instrument. You get better as you do it more often. So I want to go back into doing some quilting, and besides just straight quilting, free motion eventually. So these are the 2 projects that I said are in progress. And this, I'm making another project bag. And right now this is considered the wrong side, but it's a batik, so there is no wrong side. And this was using Vanna Pfeiffer, the Twisted Stitchers tutorial. So I have to, at this point, it's sewn. So what I have to do next is trim the borders. What I do is I usually pink them with pinking scissors. And then I left the bottom open. I have to clip into the corner so it's a smooth corner when I turn it. And then I will turn it from the bottom that I left open. And then I will stitch the bottom closed, you know, after I make sure that it's a nice rounded top, and press it. And then I will most likely, I'm going to try and free motion just some loopy loops. And then I will finish it with Velcro, and it'll look something like that. So that's a work in progress that I hope by the next time we're together I can show you a finish. And then this is Caleb's quilt that I completely quilted. And the reason it took me so long to quilt it wasn't because of the straight lines in the bottom section. It was that I was hemming and hawing, trying to figure out how I was going to quilt his name. I have to stand up. This thing is taller than I am. I had to figure out how I was going to quilt his name. And then I finally just bit the bullet and saying, let me start quilting. It'll come to me. And so here's his quilt. And it's not finished because the binding is not completely sewn down. So I have to fold it over and I stitch by hand. But this side is finished. So this is Caleb's quilt. And I'll bring it in closer, but here's struggling. They meaning my daughter-in-law and son, have not seen the quilt. And so I'm hoping to have it done by this weekend because they're supposed to come over for lunch. Everybody's supposed to come over, my 2 boys and their families. And I hope to have this done. And I'll come in close, but don't judge, of how I quilted the inside of, I stitched inside of each letter and then I went around them. And kind of filled in all the blank spaces. And I think it would have been, I don't know, maybe easier to free motion it. Okay, this will be sewn over. It might have been easier to free motion it, because when you do straight stitching on something that is more than just vertical and horizontal, you have to make sure that the part of the quilt can fit under your throat plate. And actually my machine has a extra long throat plate, and that means the side, that's where the motor is. I have a lot of room there. And that was one of the reasons that I bought this particular machine. It's a Viking Husqvarna. I don't remember the number, but it's no longer, I don't think it's made anymore. You know, they come out with new machines every couple of years anyway, and that I've had that a number of years. So that's my quilt. So that's my video. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me, and I hope you enjoyed what you see. I hope you give me a thumbs up. I hope you come back. Have a great Valentine's Day. This is the month of love. I hope, besides we have to love ourselves, love somebody, anybody, a pet, a child, a parent. I hope there's love in your life. And I think I told you everything I want to say, except I love you guys, and I'm so happy to share this with you. So have a great 2 weeks, half a month, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye, guys.